podcast. And they go, how did they fit away? And then they're wearing flip-flops. This is a sort of shit cunt persona that really fucking gets me fucking aggro. They're wearing a handbag. If it's a girl, I'll get to the guys. It's a girl who wears a handbag, walks like that. The guys would be wearing flip-flops, those fucking yoga pants, the shit cages. The ones where those ones really get me going. I haven't fucking shaved for 10 years. So fucking, you're welcome to come to Thailand, but just stay away from our group.
This is not an attack video. I'm simply exercising my right to share my life story and observations. Each person, including me, is ultimately responsible for our lives. The events here in no way represent the wider vegan community. I got into raw food back in 2000 in Thailand, and then in the UK, where I was hanging about with people like David Wolf, David Vitalis, a bit later, and I was friends with Doug Graham and this kind of stuff. And I didn't really get into the fruit story with Doug Graham, even though I liked what he was doing. The attraction for the gourmet raw food was too strong. The community was much bigger, and I was hanging out with that. As the years rolled on, I began to see it wasn't really working for me. I couldn't really do it. It was very intense to make all that food, and it didn't really feel good. So I started looking at other options. Meanwhile, at some point, come onto the internet, and I saw them arrive, and we didn't like them because they were just picking on our friends, and it didn't seem comfortable. So I just was like, that's not a cool guy, ignored it. Anyway, because of my eating issues, I was really quite desperate to find a solution, and I was living in Goa at the time in beginning of 2014, end of 2013. And I wanted to go somewhere to get back into cycling. One of the strategies it does in hindsight is take credit for every positive thing you do. It seems minor, but is in fact progressively undermining to you and how others see you, and breeds an underlying gratitude among followers because he has repeatedly told you, I showed you the way. So I just wanted to establish for my own sanctity the following points. My brother Ray got me into road bikes and Tour de France in 1982. My ex-girlfriend introduced me to veganism in 1989. Hilary and Greg at the Dharma Healing Centre introduced me to raw food in Koh Samui and veganism again in 1999. Doug Graham taught me about the high-carb, low-fat lifestyle in 2000. My friend Sally introduced me to Chiang Mai in 2014, and his partner encouraged me to do these things with more intensity in 2014. And I'm grateful to everyone. Now this seems really juvenile and petty, but the reason why I'm bringing it up is because has convinced all the followers that he introduced me to all of these, and I'm being super ungrateful, and in fact I'm backstabbing him because he showed me the way, and how can I do this? And what was the crime I committed? I said, I don't think you can eat unlimited calories and still lose weight. That's why it's important. This is not a juvenile thing that, say, me and my brother used to go on about, like who first went here. This is someone maliciously using this undermining of your own sanctity, your own autonomy, to make it seem like any time you speak up against them, you are being ungrateful because they showed you the way. The truth is, we are the product of many people, never one. So I've decided to tell my story of what has it been like since I got involved in a community that was led by a narcissist, in my opinion. And it's an important story to tell because it's a very dysfunctional community with people at odds with each other. It's very vicious, aggressive, and skeptical. And I didn't understand it until now, fully, how much harm it has done to me, my friends, my loved ones, and my reputation. So I want to tell this whole story to put closure on this situation for me so I can move on with my life in a healthy way. Yeah, in 1997 I had a CAD 3, and then I used to go cycling all around Europe, Portugal, Spain, Italy, Cyprus, went to so many places. I really liked the hills as well. I even went to Ibiza and I cycled to every beach when I was living there. So it's a myth that, you know, I only discovered, or anyone only ever discovered cycling when they came to this community. I've been doing it for ages, and I was just looking for somewhere that I could get back to it, so because I knew that I really enjoyed it and it was a good way for me to get fit and then just enjoy myself.
Welcome to Joe's Secret Beach.
I couldn't really do, I wasn't eating healthy. I was eating, you know, standard food, you know, meat, dairy, everything else. And I knew I didn't want to do that, but I kind of like was having a break from fighting my affliction. The other thing I want to jump here and add is I have been wanting to go vegan since 2000. It's not a new thing, but because of the affliction I had, it took over my life. You can't understand what it is like to lose control of your eating to this degree. In all my travels, I have to say that this particular vegan community is the only community I've ever encountered where ridiculing my 16-year fight to beat binge eating is acceptable. This is partly because the leader deems binge eating a myth that victims make up to get sympathy or YouTube views. It was super odd when I first encountered that attitude, but it got even weirder. Because binge eating as an illness is undermined by the promotion of it as a way to lose weight and get fit. If you eat enough, if you binge eat, but only if you binge eat on certain cult acceptable foods. And this completely misses the point that binge eating is loss of control of not only how much you eat, but also what you eat. Comments like this are generally juvenile and on their own they're harmless, but when you get hundreds of them, when you're struggling with binge eating, when you're trying to really recover, they definitely don't help. It doesn't feel like it's a community that wants you to succeed.
Sometimes it doesn't happen all at once, sometimes it's a period of 2 hours, but it's just constant. You know, it's more of grazing, they would call it. Most of the times where I was in that kind of zone, it was more euphoric for me. There was no rational thought. It's almost like a drug addict getting that first hit or first high.
It is scary, it is debilitating, and it is very, very painful. And the fact that I have fought this for so long in such a cheerful way and have made progress, it's amazing. Yet in this community, the narcissistic aspect of this community, it's been nothing but ridicule for all of this. And that's pretty challenging. I didn't understand this at the time, but this is a narcissistic collective, and that is just a posh word for a cult. And success in this community means a lean body, 3 to 5%, good Strava rides, like lots of Strava data, which is a cycling app, fast Deutsche time, which is up the local mountain, preferably sub 40. Eating many calories. Well, I had this one, but it didn't count because they were the wrong kind of calories. A hot young girlfriend, a fit, fast boyfriend, but not as fast as the leader. They must be vegan. Being included in the crew, a black vegan t-shirt, and daily YouTube videos in a cheap room. The last three are kind of small, but it is part of the culture here.
I almost forgot, a vasectomy.
And the last one is the underlying gratitude for the leader for any of these that you achieve. And this is the important thing, because if you have that, you can have none of the others and you can still be considered a cool person. But once you start to question these things above and the leader in general, then you become the target of his aggression and things gets horrible.
In the background, I've got the vegan shirt, and they got that little hashtag cut carbs, cut life. That's actually Bonnie's hashtag that Jason and Henya stole.
And this is Craig's weight loss story that Duran Rider's trying to steal. Good morning, Transformers. That's what I'm calling you now. Transformers, team transformation. So that's what this video is about. It's about a transformation of a good friend of mine called Craig Roberts, who lost a lot of weight in Thailand, following his own path and listening to his own body and developing a way to lose weight that worked for him. Because that's what it's about. It's about individualization when it comes to weight loss. And some people don't like that because you can't control people who are doing their own thing. So I saw this video and I was like, I don't think it's really doing Craig the justice he deserves, because what's happening in this video is he's being swept into the shadow of, and his, it's not even Raw Till 4, it's more like Sugar Till 4. It's not the same as Freely's Raw Till 4, it's a completely different program. He likes to sweep anybody that's had any success, that's ever watched a video of his, into his Sugar Till 4 program. And anybody that's not doing so well or does it more slowly, he discredits them and moves them away into someone else's camp. And I saw this video and I was like, it's not fair. So I'm going to let you know exactly how Craig lost the weight in his own words, plus my observations, because Craig lived with me at the Best Transformation, where he had an amazing time and a life-changing experience.
And you're smashing the calories, and you're smashing the calories, and you're smashing the calories.
So in this interview, Harley tells Craig what he's done rather than actually asking him what he did. So I've been in contact with Craig since, you know, he's been here. We became good friends. And here's one of the messages he sent me way back in May. I've done away with carving the fuck up now. Have done for a while, to be honest. So basically what happened is that Craig lost a load of weight doing his own thing, and it was appropriated by the leader in the video I saw. So I made this video debunking that video. I didn't understand at the time that it was a narcissistic collective, so I didn't realize I was basically shooting Craig in the kneecaps. Because by me publicly saying that he wasn't doing what he was meant to be doing to be in this collective, he basically became the target of the collective. Now, at the time, he turned on me. I'm liberating him. I'm showing the world what a cool guy he is, and he hated it and started taking the mick out of my diabetes and doing interviews, laughing at me and teasing me for still being fat. And I've forgiven him, and we're friends now again. We're in contact again. We're not so much friends yet, but we're still in contact again. And I can understand it now, because for him, he was like, "Oh my God, you don't know you're in a cult, but you feel the pressure, right?" So when I made this video, it's like me saying that he doesn't believe in narcissism and he thinks that the Jews should be left alone. It's like you're kicked out of the gang.
I wanted to make a video about Cycling Slim, about Craig, and about how ungrateful Craig has become. I feel like me and Craig have a lot in common. Both me and Craig were inspired by Harley. Inspired to start cycling. I wasn't inspired to go vegan by Harley, but I was inspired to change my diet. Inspired to move somewhere as a vegan. So Craig was inspired to move to Thailand. I was inspired to move to Adelaide. I respect what Harley's done. I'm still able to admit that he's helped me. Whereas, you know, I'm still able to be appreciative of Harley's help and his advice. Whereas Craig is not. He's become completely deluded, and he actually believes that Harley had no influence on his decision to move to Thailand, to buy a bike, to start cycling, to go high carb, etc. Vegan Foot Soldier made a really good video on this as well. And I feel that Craig just needs a reality check, but I really do believe that he believes that Harley had nothing to do with it, had nothing to do with his transformation, because he's become that conceited. I'm really interested to see where his channel goes in the next 5 years. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes down to 1 meal a day and maybe even starts incorporating fish.
This is who they're trying to discredit. The biggest weight loss transformation I've ever seen anybody do, and it is massive. It is such a boon for the vegan lifestyle. It's such a precious gem of what is possible if you get it all right. Look what this man has done in 2 years, right? But this narcissistic collective would rather discredit his success than have it not be attributed to their leader. That's what's insane about this. That is what's insane about this. And if you're not vegan, you don't know how insulting it is for people to claim you're going to eat fish soon. That is like it's just very, very insulting if you're vegan to have people say that. Now, here's Craig's response. I personally would find myself in the in-between camp. I don't hate Durenrider himself, but I hate some of his advice and a lot of his recent actions. I had to stop following Durenrider's advice as I hit a plateau, and I started running on the flats in Zone 2 and eating whole foods, all things Durenrider doesn't promote, and that's when the weight loss really started to happen for me. So Craig come to stay at my house, and we saw what happened. He inspired us to cycle. When Craig moved into the house, everyone in the house who hadn't done 100k did 100k. And when Craig moved into the house, he started being influenced by people eating whole foods, right? That's what people were saying to him. Nobody's telling Craig he owes us, and Craig isn't saying to us we owe him. When people come together, we share knowledge and we grow from each other's assets. That's a healthy community. But when one person wants to take the credit for anything anybody does, and if they don't do it, they and their minions attack and bully them for months, that's an unhealthy community. The other tension between me and Craig that come up is that this community would always compare him to me and say, well, Craig did it, so why can't you? You must be fat and lazy. But, you know, number one, he's a lot younger. He's like 20 years younger than me. But not only that, that's not the main reason. The main reason is that I have a diagnosable condition called binge eating syndrome, which is bordering on a mental health issue. And I've spoken to Craig extensively, and he said he never binged. Some people just get overweight because he got into a lazy slump. Did you feel that you had a food addiction, or you just had a lazy lifestyle?
Lazy lifestyle.
So I'm not saying that I'm not taking credit away from what he's done. What he's done is amazing, and I would love one day to be able to have a video like this of me. I would love that. That is my dream. But I was doing this 14 years before I met Craig. Right? 14 years before I met Craig, and I'm still at it 3 years later. It's not the same thing as just weight loss. It is a condition about an addiction to stimulation with the foods, and it is the hardest addiction to break. This has been medically stated in many, many places. But anyway, this section is not about me. I'm just letting you know the pressures that you come under in this torturous community when all you want to do is be healthy. So full credit to Craig. I respect this guy. I'm so glad that we're back talking again. You know, I'm sure it will pick up momentum at some point. But that's another casualty of this toxic community. Two people who should be like brothers ended up at a war because I tried to save him from a narcissistic collective, attributing all of his success to themselves. And then when he doesn't stand for it and I don't stand for it, he gets battered by the foot soldiers. The point I want you to take away from this is Craig got the lean body. Maybe not that low, but he's very lean. He's got good Strava rides. He's got a fast isotope time. He's eating sufficient calories. He has a hot young girlfriend. He doesn't have a fit, fast boyfriend. He's not included in the crew. He does have a black vegan t-shirt. He does do daily YouTube videos. He probably has a cheap room, or I'm sure his girlfriend's made him upgrade. And he has a vasectomy. Yet he's being ousted from this community because he didn't have the undying gratitude for the leader, and that's the most important part. You could be a fat lorry driving slug that just goes around eating bacon and everything, but if you're a big fan of the leader, you'll be accepted to a degree. You'll just be ridiculed behind their backs. So if you're kind of some young follower and you're thinking that you're going to get appreciation for making all these changes, you will not. Because if at any point you decide to say that actually I'm doing it my way, you will get the same vicious attacks that Cycling Slim has had. So it's not just about someone like me that hasn't reached these goals. It's also if you do reach these goals, but you don't have the gratitude, you are out.
It's pretty obvious to me that Craig doesn't give a fuck about the animals, really. I mean, it's all about weight loss for him. He talks about people coming to him because they've gained weight on Harley's advice. But where are these people? Who are these people? Are these people who have suffered metabolic adaptation from calorie restricting in the past? I don't know how he can be so confident in his new methods.
Now, when I showed up here, and unbeknown to me, because in previous communities people haven't really considered my weight or cycling speed or body fat percentage, they've just liked me and I've been a fun person to spend time with. But in this community, because of this ranking system, when I arrived here, my social rating must have been so low and I didn't even know it. And I was so naive in this regard. I started making videos about my fat body and my binge eating, and man, it just set me up for later to be an easy target for people to attack when they felt the need. My name is Joe Best. I'm overweight, I'm a binge eater, and I'm a diabetic. I have no energy. I sleep all day, and I was told to stop eating sugar, but I couldn't do it. I kept eating the same meals for years, and embarrassed by my inability to control my cravings, I started hiding away. But then I discovered a method to release myself from the chains of my own brainwashing, to greet all my fears as old friends, to share myself and be of service to the world. So what I'm saying is I spent a long time fighting this affliction, and by the time I got to this community, I was ready for another go because I was exhausted. I'd made progress, but I was exhausted. What I had discovered though was a way to be happy with it. And this is quite important in life. One of the things that's taught in this community is you can only be happy if you get the success that you achieve. But it's not true. You can still be working on stuff that's very challenging and find this peaceful space in your heart to enjoy your daily life, even when you haven't got all of the boxes ticked. Lean, fast, whatever the bloody boxes are. Do you know what I mean? You can still find happiness, and that's what I was sharing there. Then I spoke to my friend and I said, like, where can I go that I can do, you know, some cycling or whatever? And she knows Asia really well, and she said, go to Chiang Mai. I was like, what? Chiang Mai? Goes, I've always been to Thailand, I've always been to the south. So anyway, I went online, looked up Chiang Mai, looked up cycling, found this festival run by a fellow. And I was excited to find the cycling. I was like, oh, I'm not that guy. It was a bit like, but I'm very open-minded, and I just said to myself, you know what, I'm just going to watch his videos and see what he's really about. And I watched it, and I got sucked into the promises of, you know, lean, or eat all you can, I've got the best information, all this kind of stuff. And I was very vulnerable at the time, and I was hoping for a solution. And that's why I think a lot of people find this, is that you just want to be free of this food nightmare. So I came to Chiang Mai. A bit later on, one of my best friends and a famous raw food promoter tried to warn me. She's like, you know, you got to keep away from the banana heads, as they were called. And this is 2014. And she shared some of my vids, but she's like, look, I can't do it because I cannot share that information. I cannot share that person. They're toxic and I want to keep away. And I just thought she was being over dramatic, but I respected it, and we didn't talk about it anymore. But in hindsight, I wish I'd listened to her because she dealt with him before. She knew what she was talking about, and she knew it was going to be dangerous. But by that time, I'd already bought into this story about eat all you can, lose all this weight, be lean, it's really easy. And I didn't want her warning to be true, so I ignored it at great peril to me. And this is why people get sucked in to the sirens on YouTube. Because when you are overweight, or you have an eating issue, or you want to be fitter, or you're a young man looking to find yourself in this life, or you're a young woman looking to find yourself in this life, or whatever it might be, you just want to be part of a group and find your identity and find your friends, or you're someone like me who's a bit older and is looking for new solutions to a long problem. You're all vulnerable. It makes us all vulnerable to listen to someone that's a really good talker, but it takes a while to realize that the goods are never delivered. And I think we've all experienced that. So forgive yourself for getting involved, because we as humans, we naturally trust what people tell us, especially when they do it passionately. So the narcissist is able to bypass your defense mechanisms by coming across so confident in what they say, but after a while you realize it's too confident, and that's when the thing starts to, you know, waken up in your own mind. But anyway, take a look at my arrival in Chiang Mai.
Hi, my name's Joe, and I'm here in Chiang Mai at the night market, and I'm about to have my last fast food meal. I'm a binge eater. I don't like to define myself in that way, but I've basically been binge eating for about 15 years now. It's so ridiculous. So someone has taken that video, my first day in Chiang Mai, which is April 2014, so over 3 years ago, and they've called it Joe Best caught eating Burger King. Julian Ryder was right, and it's the 5th of July 2017.
I have actually footage, and I'm gonna show you the footage of him eating at Burger King. Yeah, that's right, at Burger King. Definitely from Burger King. So he's getting a meal from Burger King. And what that means is that this is not vegan. And the funniest thing of all is, because he said that it's gonna be his last time that he eats Burger King. This is the last time now. I'm gonna stop. It's just the last binge now. The last binge. Oh my god, man. And that's so sick, because all these obese people, they say this shit. They say, oh, it's the last burger now. Just like Boogie and all those obese fat people, they won't change anything. They say, oh, just one more time, then I'm gonna change. And he didn't change shit. I bet he's eating Burger King, KFC and all this crap on a weekly basis, because he still has diabetes and he's still fat.
So you can see it's like, it's just ridiculous. But if you look at the comments, people believe him. People actually believe this dude. And it's not that you can't handle it. It's just, why would you? Now, I've taken this abuse on the chin because I'm very resilient. And it's not this abuse that's driving me away from this community. It's just that I no longer want to support this approach to health. That's the main thing. It's not because I'm upset or sad or hurt. It's because I cannot in good conscience bring anybody else into this community. I do not want a following, because if someone else was to come here and struggle with binge eating, they would undergo the same ridicule as I have done, and they may not be as strong. It's driven a lot of people into silence and away from veganism. All right, let me read the text. So what people can't see, but this is the same as laughing at a cancer patient. Diabetes and binge eating are deadly, and I've never been ridiculed anywhere in the world except by vegans. And that's something to answer for, and it's certainly something to make known.
Came here, rented a flat, and joined in with the festival, and it was absolutely great. And you've seen my music video.
It's the Raw Till 4 Type Fruit Festival. I'm here right now, and the best of all, there's so many fruit bats here too. Loving life, living on fruit. It's the Raw Till 4 Type Fruit Festival. I'm here right now, and the best of all, there's so many fruit bats here too. Loving life, living on fruit.
And this music video was basically a testament for the love of what I'd found here. A group of people who are fun, energetic, like to exercise, and most importantly, they like to eat in a way that's safe for a binge eating diabetic. I was in heaven. And this is called empowerment, when the group love brings out the talents in the members so the community flourishes and grows. By now, this community should be 700, 800 amazing people, but it's not. Now, this is the travesty of this vocal vegan community. So this YouTube vegan community is the loudest vegan community on the planet. And people come here because they want to meet vegans, but they're driven away because they are forced to choose between community or sanity. I.e., you can hang out with us, but we are absolutely mad with infighting, bickering, slander, and just nastiness. Or you can bail and never come back and retain your sanity. And that's what a lot of people do. This community is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, which is a good thing because it's so harmful. However, because it's becoming smaller, it doesn't make it quieter. So let me read the text. No vegan should be forced to make that choice. We are already spread so thin, yet we let this vegan divide us further. The only community that the leader supports is one that follows him, and everyone else must be attacked. This is a narcissistic collective. You can read up on this, but basically this Raw Till 4 narcissistic collective attacks other vegan groups because that's what they promote, intergroup aggression. But what happens in a collective narcissistic community is that all of the rumors and everything that comes about stains everything that you do, so you start to lose motivation for it. And what you'll find is all the things I contributed and what other people did as well never happened again at this festival, just because of the way the narcissistic core erodes everything that's not in compliance with the rules.
Right? It was a blast, an absolute blast. But there was a couple of red flags. During the festival, the first festival, 2014, I didn't come to any of the social events. I don't remember seeing him at anything. And if you watch my music video, I've had to edit him in from a different video, right? The only shot that's fresh is him cycling up the mountain, and that's what he did. He rode up the mountain, did a Q&A, and then went to his room and sat in the hotel room while everyone else is partying downstairs or coming to the parties that me and the Raw Till 4 twins threw at their house. I had a great time. This is how this place could be. This is the kind of camaraderie and love and friendship that we all shared with each other. It was incredible. That's why I made a video. And I'll tell you what, a lot of people came the next year because of my video. You know, he makes claims that everyone in Chiang Mai is here because of him. That's kind of like a very indirect thing. It's like every person in Chiang Mai is here because of the very first human that was ever created through evolution, right? I put this video at 35,000 views. It showed the fun side. If I wasn't doing that at that point, it would just be videos of him going up the mountain because there wasn't anything else. We threw the parties and all the people came, right? It was the people that made that festival. Anyway, so I thought, I like this place. Yeah, I'm gonna get myself a house. And I rented a house.
Now the reason why I got the house, despite all of the crazy speculation that come later that I got the house for money, got the house to try and get with girls or whatever it might have been. I mean, it's just so juvenile and ugly. But I got the house because if you listen to this clip, listen to the end of this clip. And embarrassed by my inability to control my cravings, I started hiding away. Right? I'd isolated myself for about 3 years in London in my brother's flat. I went to live with him. I was chronically binge eating. I was diabetic and I couldn't stop. And I just felt so embarrassed about my ability to not be able to deal with this. Even though in my life I've dealt with so much stuff and I've been so successful, I'm like, I can't even feed myself. I just started hiding away and I took care of my brother for 3 years, lived in his flat. So then when I started getting better, because I recovered myself, I wanted to live with people. So when I went to Goa, if you see, look at the shots from Goa, I'm living in a house and I've got all these amazing people around me. And I thought the same would happen in Chiang Mai. So I rented a big house and I filled it full of cool people. And it looked the same at first, and there was very lots of people that I met, you know, lots. But there's enough sinister people just to make it give everything a sour taste. It's like putting salt on a watermelon. And what I wanted to show here was how easy it is to fall into a cult group in this way, because I was vulnerable. I was looking for answers. I had a problem I hadn't found a solution for, and this opens you up to be trusting of people who have a confident voice and tell you they have a solution for what you're trying to fix. And that's what happened to me. The second thing I wanted to show is that when you join a narcissistic collective, you don't realize you're a target. And you're not a target for all the fun people that you've been hanging out with. It's people kind of watching in thinking, who's this guy think he is? He hasn't got any of the things that we've got. He hasn't done any of the cycling. He hasn't lost the weight. Who is he throwing these parties and getting houses and whatever? And they get a bit vexed and then they start gossiping about you. And that's where the narcissistic collective comes in, because they collectively hold up a narcissistic's viewpoint. And that's what this is. I didn't even know there was a set of rules at that point. But here's the thing. Once the narcissistic collective starts to spread rumours to all the normal people, the happy, normal, joyful people in the group about you, in this case me, they start to worry and doubt, is this true? Because they assume everyone's just telling the truth. So what happens is that all the people you've been dancing with, having fun with your friends, they start to think maybe you're a bit suspicious. Take this guy here. We turned on each other. The leader turned on him, so I was defending the leader, so I turned on him, and I had an ulterior motive because his partner at the time, she'd previously turned on me. And this is the problem with narcissistic cults. You when you're in it, you really believe the problems that are being presented, and they're not real. And this is what he had to say about it in a conversation we had, which I really loved this quote. Haha, yeah, that was actually a great festival 2014, and if you think about it, it's kind of like we were all kids and had no preconceptions of each other, so we were all able to enjoy each other's company for who we were. And then we had all our perceptions clouded by this structure, and that's what happened. Particularly when the rumours and the assassinations get really strong. It's low-level stuff at first, but it just picks up progressively, and that's the danger, and you don't even know it's happening to you. It's like you're a lobster being boiled in hot water, and you don't realise that it's getting hot until it's too late. If you listen to the last statement I just made in that video.
Come along, yeah? Everyone's welcome.
I opened up a house and I stuck by that because I felt everybody was welcome. It's very disarming when you come to a vegan community because the mantra that people live by or tell you that they live by is compassion, non-violence for the planet, for the people, for the animals. So how bad could it be? How bad could these people be? So I opened up my doors to just whoever wanted to move in. And I didn't make lots of friends in this time, but it made me so vulnerable to speculation, rumour and attack from people who could act like they've been on the inside and they've seen what really goes on. And it's just such a damaging thing, and I feel like it destroyed something that could have been beautiful. One of the things that happened that I thought was interesting was I went to the park and I met this gal, and we was all sitting around in a group, and I just got this big house, I've got all my housemates with me, and there's this girl saying, I've got nowhere to stay tonight. And I was like, okay, well, you can crash at our place, you know, come and couch. She's like, I'm couch surfing. And I felt a bit bad, like I've got this big house, there's a vegan here, he's got nowhere to stay. All right, let's stay at my place. She crashes in the place.
Wow. This is so good.
We're having a fruitgasm at the moment. We're just eating, like, we've got these passion fruits, tamarind, oranges. We've got this sapodillo, it's a manky one. And we've got coconut sugar. And potatoes. It's actually better consistency than the Vitamix because it keeps the structure where the Vitamix loses it. And it was good for the first little bit, but then she started making a real mess, leaving trash everywhere over the house. All her bag upturned on the sofas. So can't even go into the sofa room because it's covered like a dirty, like a bloody trash bin. Anyway, I did some things to try and alleviate it, and I asked her a couple of times to sort it out. She never did. So I went to one of my housemates and said, what should I do? He goes, listen mate, you know, your friend is getting an apartment soon. He's got a spare room. Why don't you ask him if he'll take her for a bit? So I did it. I said that to her, sent her a message, and she moved out. And at that time though, I had to move all her stuff into this cupboard room that we've got, just to get it out the way because it was horrible. And I asked her like 10 times to move it, she never did. So why am I telling you this? Because it just goes to show that normal interactions with people in this community are Tinder based. They're inflammatory because this simple thing between two people where someone's staying in my house and is being disrespectful and I take rational actions. I ask her to move. She doesn't. I move her stuff for her into her room. I give her a free room. I find her another free room and move her on. There's nothing wrong with this.
but it's turned into fire against you that you then have to deal with over and over again. That's why I'm telling you this story.
You know, it's frustrating because you get messages like this where people, you know, thank you for all that you've done for them, which is, you know, a really nice thing. And then, you know, I found that she was in hospital, so I offered to bring her some stuff. I think I brought her some videos and whatnot. And you think it's all done, and it's not.
So what happened after that is this other guy came along and he decided to make a video called his comments and criticisms of what I was doing, and another guy called Connor.
So it's another day in the park with amazing friends. Look at this, this gets bigger every day. And how things happen here is when two people like this meet, they come together, they started a gossip group, and before you know it, they're making up rumours about me and my house. I'm just a vegan, trying to do a good thing in Chiang Mai to help people have a better time. She stayed for free. He came for once to a party, a Christmas party I invited him to, and that was enough for them to start trying to ruin my reputation before it even got settled. And this stuff runs so deep, I just found out while researching for part 2 of this series that this guy here, who I thought was a really good friend because we only ever had great conversations together, was completely going after me in a 2015 scandal. You know, I thought he was a really good guy. It's crazy. You just cannot trust anyone in a narcissistic collective. You just can't. What you can do, though, is you can give everybody a complete amnesty because none of these people know what the fuck they were doing. It's just so corrupt and coercive. So yeah, so a big amnesty coming to a channel near you soon.
And I was watching it, I thought, where am I? Where have I ended up? Why are they making videos like this? I've opened up a house so a bunch of vegans can all come and live together and have loads of fun, and this guy's smashing it, but he's doing it in exactly the same voice as exactly.
A few things make me feel like they're not genuine. Maybe they're in it for the money. Maybe that's what they see as more important than the animals, people's health, state of the planet, things like that. But no, I don't hate these people. It's like Harley says. But I do think that they can improve on maybe the things that they say. They can start listening a little bit more, and they can make it a little bit less about money and a little bit more about, openness, honesty, telling the truth, things like that. So, and not trying to bring others down.
What you see here is a Harley clone, and they're pretty dangerous. I didn't really know how much at the time. So this is not compassionate. This is using social media as a weapon. And in a bit later in the video, I'll talk about collective narcissism. And this is what happens. Someone comes along who doesn't fit your rules, which he explains here, and they go after you to harm you in some way. In my video, Raw Till 4 was a narcissistic collective. The clones are explained. They're the ones in green. So the leader is in orange, and the ones in green have the closest attributes to him. Like this guy was a great cyclist, lean, high carb, all the things that people are looking for, minus the girlfriend, minus some other things. But his job is to police the people in blue, and in particular, going after people who are behaving with a higher status than they deserved because they don't have the specific list of attributes that the leader has deemed appropriate. You have to watch the video to understand this.
During the festival, and it's actually happened twice, believe it or not. One during the festival and one more recently. But anyways, he basically said that, you can't expect to be successful on YouTube because, you won't be able to make as much money as Harley or Freely. And, maybe that's true for some people. Maybe some people they're not really quite as passionate about it. But you can still be completely successful on YouTube, especially if you're a vegan. And the reason is that if you help one person stay vegan or go vegan, you're literally contributing to save thousands of animals.
I was pretty new to this back then, so I wrote to him and I said to him, look, I don't want to make a public video against you. I think it's better if we address it in Facebook chat. And I said, look, I didn't appreciate your video because it's largely based on hearsay and it's in fact largely incorrect. It was actually completely incorrect, but I was being nice. And then I told him how much stuff I do at the house for the people, the friends and whoever who come to stay there. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. And then I started to rebut his comments and criticisms, kicking off with the YouTube thing that seemed to bother him so much. I actually said, which is absolutely true, I said you can't expect to make a living from YouTube, because YouTube is a financial gamble. You cannot tell if your channel is going to be popular, even if you follow the formulas. You just can't tell. It's a science and an art. What I did say was that you can always help people, but make sure you choose a subject that you're passionate about, because you might end up doing it for free. And he's turned this into me saying basically that people shouldn't do YouTube or do vegan YouTube. And it really worked. The amount of people that started not liking me because I was basically being this money guy and saying, oh, and it's not about the animals, just increased.
But anyways, the second thing was I was living with the Rato 4 twins at the Rato 4 twins house. I was certainly overpaying, and I didn't find out until afterwards. But the thing is, the twins eventually moved out, and they moved into Joe's place. And what they were doing was they were basically helping him out with his own, you know, video recording, producing, things like that, filming, whatever. And while he wasn't paying them that much at all, he was giving them a free place to stay, which I think is a really, really great thing. But there's one problem that I have with that, and that's he said that the twins could only make videos 1 day of the week. Their own videos 1 day of the week. The other 6 days of the week, they had to work and focus on Joe's videos. And I saw this as another way, maybe it's true, maybe it's not true, but it sort of seems like there's a sort of a pattern here of trying to decrease competition on YouTube. Maybe this isn't true, maybe I'm just making this up, but it's just a conclusion that I've come to.
This is the one that got to me. I'm trying to help out buddies of mine, and it's being turned into some kind of sinister activity, and that's all I've had since I've come to this community. So the actual story is the Raw 4 twins, couple of great guys, came to Thailand, blew a load of dough. Their idea was to borrow loads of money from the US, listening to you know who, quit whatever they were doing there, listening to you know who, and come here and start doing YouTube, video every day model. And they went broke. Right, so I didn't want them to have to go home just yet, and they wanted to stay, so I gave them a free room in my 25,000 baht per month apartment, and they worked with me on a real online business. And I limited them making these YouTube videos because I said you need to earn some real money skills to get yourself financially sorted before you go and do the YouTube, and you want to have something to sell. They were really into running, and they were really into rice. So we started working on the plan for there to become the rice till for like runners, or the rice runners. And we was going to build a little online business for them. But the condition was they stopped making these stupid daily YouTube videos about bullshit. They kept hearing the call in the community to make these videos. So one moved out, started doing it, and his brother was like, I want to be in YouTube as well. He moved out, and then they both had to go home because they ran out of money completely. That's what happened. It was a friendship thing. It was a loving thing to do, and they turn everything into, oh, you're some bad guy. And this is why this community is so dangerous. You can't live in this community. You can't, because anything you do is put under negative scrutiny because it's so negative from the top down. What are they doing? What are they doing that for? The negative spin, and it just makes your life less satisfying. Not only less satisfying, but less successful. I'm trying to do something for veganism, to make it great and fun in Chiang Mai, and I'm getting pulled down. And as you'll see later on, this is a form of collective narcissism, where anyone that's perceived as an outsider is attacked by the group.
Yeah, I've heard some other stories, and they're certainly more extreme than what I've been talking about so far, from friends of mine, people who've been living in the house. You know, even friends who aren't even in Chiang Mai anymore. But it's not up to me to make this video about their experiences. I think that they should share their experiences, especially a few girls. You know who you are. You know who you are. And people who've just lived in the house and things that they've observed, whatever. So make your own YouTube videos, because it's not really my problem.
Parents will say, no, it's okay, don't worry, it's fine. And you actually need to say, oh, it was so painful, right? And they'll say, yeah, it was so painful.
Karma.
Really good, thank you. I've been feeling an unfriendly vibe from this guy since I met him at the Raw Till 4 Twins house. I still invited him to my Christmas party because I didn't want him to be on his own, and I thought it was just social awkwardness and he needed to meet some nice people. Little did I know that that's the only time he came to my house, and he was spying so he could then make this video that he made a little bit later on. It's just ridiculous. It's so ugly, man. It just spoils what is a good thing.
Oh, sorry.
Has anybody, have you all eaten? I'm making this black bean soup, but maybe you've already all eaten.
I know with these sponge here,
Oh yeah.
eat all day.
I'll just bring it out. I'll just bring it out. Good idea, right? I'll bring it out.
Yeah, Jamie, and her name.
So this is Christmas Day in Chiang Mai at the Best Transfer Mansion, and I'm having a black bean soup. And there's loads of friends here eating fruits and carbs and sushi, vegan sushi, and yeah, really nice Christmas. So no one made any videos because there was nothing to make any videos about. I then asked him about this. I said, you said share your experience with a few of the girls. Well, I went through the list of the girls at the house, and these girls became friends of mine already were. They said on YouTube, you know, the best 2 weeks of their life. They said, thank you for all your love and support. It's just not in line with what he said. And more quotes, I miss you and the house and loved you all. And this was seriously the best 2 weeks. Me and blah, 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 great friends. And honestly, my mum was there as well, and she wants to come back, and she did. So the only person left is Henya. The part about the girls was really off, Patrick. That's my reputation as a man and a friend. Women are fearful of travelling alone, and to plant the seed that my house is an unsafe house because of me is just so unfair. There's no grounds for it, but this can and has done damage to my reputation. Any accusation about guys does that. And then I said, you know, don't take the cheap shots on video. Really just ask in future, and only go for the sex fiend storyline if you really have solid evidence, because that is a very serious thing to say about a man. When I'm being nice to this guy, I said, you know, you just feel you need to hear my side, and I hope it gives you food for thought and perhaps lead you to be less trigger happy or do more research beforehand. So his reply was nice, but it was a bunch of backpedaling or sidestepping or saying I heard this or it might have been true, I don't know for sure, etc, etc. And it was, you know, it was just ridiculous. But he did pay me the best compliment that you can possibly ever be paid in this community, which is, I can tell you are carved up. But the real problem here is that we're a bunch of adults living together. And in this community, you cannot have normal adult interactions that are governed by your own sense of morality. Because if you do anything, like if you ask the girl out on a date, or a girl says to this guy, I like you, or whatever happens, it's so easy for someone to make a video and make them look like they are Charles Manson or something else. So it makes it just uncomfortable to have any interactions with these people. And that's the case with this woman. She didn't make a video at the time, but later on in the series, you'll see that she did make a video talking about her experience at the house, and this is the best she could come up with.
So I'll let you in on my experience. So when Frilly shouted him out, yeah, I watched this video, yeah, he was like a nice little fat dude saying, you're not fat, I'm fat. I kind of liked it, I subbed, fine, cool. I didn't watch any of his other videos, and I just met him when I came to Chiang Mai. He was nice. He was saying, why don't you come to my house, because I was couch surfing, and he offered me a place to stay, and I was like, fuck yeah, place for free, I'll do that. And we started talking about stuff, and like, I'll leave out all the inconsistent shit that happened and all the stuff that aren't related to sexual harassments out of this, because who the fuck cares? Like, he's just a fat dude who's not even vegan.
This is what bothers me, is they always use misdirection. Because the other guy did it, he said, I'm not going to talk about these things about women. So you think, I wonder what they are. And then she says, I'm not going to talk about all the other things not related to this. Why not? Talk about them. That's what this is for, isn't it? You're making a video. If you're going to put shade on me, be specific and clear. Right? Because if you notice in this video, I answer for everything. And my main point here is that, of course, when you're living in a house, things happen. Right? But this community makes it such that you don't want to live with people because you get crucified for the smallest stuff. Listen to what she says next. Your mind boggles.
Then he started saying, oh, we can work something out, you can work for me, we can make some videos, you can edit my documentary of no transformation at all, blah 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 blah. We were talking, we were sitting down.
You see what I mean? There's nothing, right? One of the ways that I contribute to society is that, because I'm successful, is if I come across people who I think are talented and they're young and they haven't got the money to pay for whatever it is, I will do a room swap and they will be an intern. I did it with the Raw Till 4 twins. It worked out pretty well, particularly with one of them. And I offered it to her because I saw how well her videos were edited. That is all it is. But they somehow turn it into everybody is out to get you. And I believe it comes from the management upstairs that makes everyone skeptical. And it's like, you know, I've got an intern here now. The guests are out. I've got an intern here now. It's working like a dream because she's a normal person and she loves it. But they spoil it for everybody because it makes you scared to have anybody come in your house, because they'll go and make a video saying you looked at my bum when you was going up the stairs, or you spoke slowly, or some weird crap. And before you know it, you're under all this pressure again and you're not getting the creativity you want to get done. I need to calm down. It's exacerbating. It's exacerbating. It's a shameful crap. That's what it is. All right, I've calmed down. But I have to before this next bit. This is just... I can't even believe this is someone's realistic video about me being some kind of sexual predator.
I think that they should share their experiences, especially a few girls.
Then he started doing this thing that he does. He starts to talk slowly and quietly and like try to lull you into some kind of like trance so he can manipulate you.
Now I want to explain how messed up this is. The first thing I want to say is she's telling you I manipulated her into accepting a free room. And then I manipulated her again into accepting a free room at my friend's house. There is nothing else that woman contributed while she was in my house. Nothing, right? I even believe that a lot of the ice cream and stuff she made was from my fruit. That's the first thing. But the more sinister thing, because it does look dopey when you see it on my video and you know me. But if you don't know me and I'm an older banker guy, and I'm not fully vegan because I'm just starting out, and you've got this young, influential person.
Vegan style. 8 years ago, I decided to go vegan. No more milk and eggs, fish and cow and even chicken. Everyone thought that it was just a diet phase. Even my Jewish mama asked if I was going crazy.
Telling everybody that I manipulated her. That's what people believe. And your social standing and the trust people have of you plummets, if not polarizes. Both are bad. Both are bad. Because unlike the leader, it's not my goal in life to be a polarizing figure so I can make lots of money with polarizing content on YouTube. I'm here to help people. I don't want to polarize. I want to unite. That's my goal, and attacks like this make it impossible. And I'm like, what? And now I can see, it's like, because I'm not blaming for all of this, obviously, but his influence is so negative that it sets up this mindset of criticize everyone, skeptical of everyone, divide everyone, split everyone. We're vegans. We're high carb vegans. We're in the same city. Split them in half again. Now there's two divisions. The ones living in my house and the ones not. Now at the time I didn't understand what was going on. I could see it, but I didn't understand it. But thanks to the Unmasking series and Norwegian's efforts, I started to understand better narcissism. I did some research and I thought, what is it like with collective narcissism? And it basically says here that collective narcissism is an emotional investment in an unrealistic belief in the group's greatness. And this is exactly what you have with the Raw Till 4, particularly at that time. They thought they were just the best people on the planet. They would do good because they're vegan. They've got the best food. They cycle the hardest. They get it done. And it was just, it makes it a very oppressive group to be around. And it basically says here that it explains that in group shape, a tendency to aggress against outgroups. Now, me coming along as an ex-banker, overweight, new vegan, the new vegan stuff wasn't enough. I was an outgroup, right? And it just showed that they were being aggressive towards me. And it says here, you know, the collective narcissism is related to a high private but low public collective self-esteem. And that's basically exactly what you have here. And what happened is that they started putting threats on anybody. And look at it. If you wear a handbag, you're a handbag basic. If you haven't got a road bike, what are you doing? If you've got a basket bike, forget it. If you're into anything like meditation or chakras, you are a shit cunt, which is pretty aggressive to call a hippie person a shit cunt. And it goes on and on and on. If you think of how many divisions there are, so many divisions, how can you ever make friends in this community? How can you ever make friends in this community? How can you even show up in this community without huge risk to what can happen to you socially here?
By raising the bar, you get rid of the choppers. You know, you get rid of the shit cunt attitudes. The choice in the moment to go, oh my god, they've changed the festival direction. No, it's always been a cycling festival. Oh my god, how did they straight away? And then they're wearing flip-flops. This is a sort of shit cunt persona that really fucking gets me fucking aggro. They're wearing a handbag. It's a girl. I'll get to the guys. It's a girl who wears a handbag, walks like that. And then the next one is the guys. The guys would be wearing flip-flops, those fucking yoga pants, the shit characters. The ones where those ones really get me going. They haven't fucking shaved for 10 years. They just like, oh, you know, like, they're smoking bongs. They're like, oh, I don't really believe in cycling. Or if they do get a bike to try and pull some chicks, they wear no helmet. They go out to the nightclubs. They're like, I'm in spiritual, and they're just like bitchy cunts as well. They might undereat, or they might have anorexia, or they're just like, you know, they don't ride a bike other than if it's like convenient for that day, things like that. So they're sort of two people that you're welcome to come from Thailand. I can't stop you from Thailand. I'm not fucking passport security, motherfuckers. But just stay away from our group.
How can that be a healthy community? How can anyone have a happy life and build good friendships when the divisions are already kicking off for no reason? I just opened up a house wanting to do a really fun thing here. And I'm fighting for my reputation from day one. So in between this other girl leaving and her meeting this guy, they formed a little group in Chiang Mai, the anti-Joe Best group.
And in these little gossip groups is where the slander starts. Like, I'm binging on KFC and McDonald's, you know, off camera and taking advantage of women. This is 2015, January. Someone's saying they're a newcomer, and there's like, they had a chat with me over something, and they're saying watching this video makes them wary of meeting me. Someone else has said, you know, formerly where I've worked, is that really true? Am I a bully? All this kind of stuff. And then another person, they're saying appreciate the video and honesty. They don't even know, but they just watched the video. They just watched the video and they appreciate the person's honesty. And another one here, look, they turn me against other vegans because it makes it seem like I'm not behind the vegan message. So can you see how this thing starts to divide? Even someone here, she said, I had a Christian Joe, but I like him. And he gave me a nice apartment. And after watching a video, I think he might have overcharged me. And this is where it starts. She says here, to be honest, I love the studio and the price was reasonable in my opinion. So she is happy. I charged her what I was paying for it. I had 1 month left. I'd got the house. I rented out the studio. She was very happy. I looked after her, made sure she was okay. But once you start these gossip machines, people start to doubt everything. And this is exactly what happened in the house later on. But this was the killer, the last one. I really appreciate your honesty, very inspiring. This is the girl who stayed in my house for free. How can she say that? How can someone who stayed in your house and didn't pay a penny on a video by a guy that knows nothing about the rent I was paying, nothing about anything about the circumstances in the house? So I addressed the ringleaders in the message. I know you guys talk about building vegan community, but the way you go about it is alienating. People in my house, my friends and myself are like, what the F is up with these guys? None of us can fathom what we have done to get this negativity thrown our way. You don't live in the house. You don't hang out with anyone in the house. Everyone in the house is happy to be here. So what has it to do with you? I don't know. Plus, you were both welcome at this house. And then I just said, you know, as far as I'm concerned, please keep away.
Already started. Toxic community. This is a toxic community. Highly toxic. and it's because of it's never been given a chance to breathe by having a rational voice that's encouraged people to come together and share each other's delights rather than nitpick about who's doing what and shut everything down. So that was the second warning for me. I was like, this whole thing's crazy, but I pursued, I carried on, and more people came to my house.
And the people that came next were going to create an even bigger problem, like the worst problem I've had in my life since I've been an adult. And it's insane, and I didn't understand it at the time, so this is in retrospect, but I can see it's part of it was because of this dysfunctional narcissistic community. It's always looking for flaws, it's always looking to a way to divide and conquer. And I have to tell you, if you're a young person growing up in this community, I feel sorry for you, because you don't know any different. But I can assure you, I've been in many communities and they're not normally this atrocious. They're not normally this nitpicking. It's just it's not a good way to live. It stifles connection, love, growth, creativity, empowerment. Imagine what this place would have been like if every year it just kept getting better, because the people are loving it, because they're sharing, people are allowed to grow, spread into different sub niches. Look at house music. House music started off as house music, and then it became techno, then it became trance, and then all these subdivisions, and you don't look for 5 minutes and then got techno, trance, sub bass, low drop, or whatever, because people are allowed to create and grow. Where here it's like it went the opposite way. You're not cycling, shit cunt. You're not, and they compressed the festival, compressed it into a smaller and smaller and smaller identikit tribe, and everyone else is scorned. And that's what I've been living with this community, and I didn't realise it till thankfully Norwegian made his videos and he made it clear. And then you look at what's been going on with you, like bloody hell. Not only for the people that have been on the receiving end, but the people pushing it. Because I'm now meeting people who are like, I'm sorry, Joe, mate, I didn't know what was going on, but I see more clearly now. So there is hope. But for me, it's just too much of my time I spend on this. So I'm going to be getting out. But stay tuned for the next parts of this video, because it's just about to get even worse. You'll see what I mean. You will see what I mean.